Greetings, it is I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time for Gathering the Roll, the only news program supported by the Empire for exciting and fantastic news from the worlds of collectible card games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, role-playing games like Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons, and Shadowrun, and of course, board games. So why don't we start, of course, with our CCG, our collectible card game news, and start, of course, with Magic the Gathering. So this week, we have some new and exciting things. First off, the packaging for Modern Masters 2017 is out, along with the packaging for Amonkhet, the next set coming out for the new block in Magic the Gathering. This includes revealing the artwork for the new Planeswalker decks that are going to be out. Now, granted, we don't know what is on the cards yet. It's just showing the artwork for it, but that has been released, along with some other art that shows off some of the Amonkhet world. In other Magic the Gathering news, this one actually hints into a role-playing game, so we're getting a little bit of role-playing game news early. Planeshift Kaladesh is out. So this is taking your setting, Kaladesh, as a Magic the Gathering world, and giving you information on how you can adapt it to a Dungeons & Dragons game. So now you can play in one of these Magic the Gathering worlds in Dungeons & Dragons. You can check out Planeshift Kaladesh now. I'll, of course, have a link to the article, which has a link to the PDF of it in the description below. Next up, also in Magic news, is the tournament for this weekend. There is another Grand Prix going on at Utrecht in the Netherlands. This is going to be a standard-based tournament, so of course, if you can still get into it, you can check that out. Or you can at least check it out on Twitch over this weekend. Let's move on from there and talk about some Pokemon trading card game news. This one, they have a new rules update. With Sun and Moon coming out, they've updated a bunch of the rules, including the Burned Special Condition. Now has completely overhauled rules, so you can check those out now. Other news, we of course have some Cardfight Vanguard news. Just released are the Vanguard Trial Decks Volume 11 and 12. Volume 11 focusing on the Royal Paladins clan, and Volume 12 focusing on the Neo-Nectar clan. So now if you're interested in either of these trial decks, you can check them out now. Moving on from there, we do have some Yu-Gi-Oh! News. The Raging Tempest booster packs have been released. So this is a 100 card set that you can get these booster packs in order to get some new cards for Yu-Gi-Oh! Now let's move on from there, and we do have some Pathfinder and Paizo news. First off is the final adventure in the Strange Aeons Adventure Path. 6th adventure, Black Stars Beckon. This has our players exploring a alien planar metropolis and trying to sever its connection to Galarian. Also out is the Player's Companion Psychic Anthology, focusing on some of the classes from the Occult Adventures book and giving you some more information about playing them. And finally out in just the Paizo news is the map pack Desert Tiles. So now if you have some desert-based adventures, you can have a little map pack for you to go along with those. Use some things to enhance it. In some third-party Pathfinder news, we have a third-party release, Starjammer. This one is taking on some of the rules based on technology and spacefaring established within Pathfinder and expanding on it to help expand your, of course, space-based / technology-based adventures set in an actual Pathfinder game. So you can check that out now. Moving on, we do have some Earth Dawn news from, of course, Facet Games. They've continued, of course, their releases of some basic High Circle information with the High Circle Thief, including introducing a few new talents, which might be interested for your High Circle play from 9th to 15th. Now, moving on, we do have some Gurps news. They're actually reprinting some older books, updated with the new modern edition of the rules. They have Biotech, Infinite Works, and High Tech, all released with, of course, the updated rules for your GURPS games. If you want to check out these books that have been updated for the modern sort of version of the rules, you can check them out now. Now let's move on to some board game news. We have a new basic adventure set apart for the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective game. They have the Jack the Ripper and the West End adventures, having your group take on the role of Sherlock Holmes investigating, well, Jack the Ripper. Also out is a new Dungeons & Dragons board game, Assault of the Giants. This one, the players take on the role of various groups of giant species, each with their own agenda, attempting to push their agenda first. So they're competing giant species, while the little people around them are getting squished. In a similar vein, also the board game Monsters, actually the card game, should I say, has been released, where players take on the role of ancient gods, looking down on mortals and occasionally spending monsters to go smote them. You can check out any of these board games now. So that's it for the news for this week. Links to any of these news stories, of course, will be in the description below. Remember to like, subscribe, and of course, share the news. It's very important to share the news. If you have any questions about any of these news stories, you can always leave them in the comments below, including any special discussion questions you have related to these topics, or anything you want us to answer, of course, in this weekend's Discussing Tabletop at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at www.twitch.tv/Tantus and Dracovin. Anything, if you mark it for Discussing Tabletop in our description here, will be answered there. Or you can always leave us some kind of suggestion for a topic or a question related to any of these or anything else we've discussed at discussingtabletop@yahoo.com. That's our email. We'll answer either of those. Willing to take it at any of them. But regardless, if you want to show extra support for the channel for any of these types of programs and more, you can always check out my Patreon, link description below. But until the next time, I bid you farewell.